Okay, so we're doing 4 Target horror stories. Target is notorious for, like, shit happening in their parking lot. I used to work at a Target. Target is just so bad for it. Like, so much shit, like, pops off in store and out of store. Target is just an awful place to be at night. I don't know why anybody would ever go at night.
I'm a 31-year-old stay-at-home mother of 2 young children.
Fun.
So once my husband gets home from work, I like to take some time for myself to go shopping, take a drive or run errands, and do that kid-free. It was around 8:30 p.m. when I arrived at the Target that I
Okay,
frequent.
you got 30 minutes to
Now,
get shit.
I'm by no means a paranoid or anxious individual, but I've taken several courses in human trafficking, and I've done plenty of research on my own learning to identify the
Why?
red flags, as well as what precautions to always take whenever I'm out in public alone, and especially at night. I
Okay.
carry several self-defense items on my person at all times just in case.
You better.
I
You're
parked
going at
directly in
night.
front of the store next
Especially
to
to
a
a
car
Target.
caddy and took a mental note of the vehicles that parked nearby again,
Good.
just as precautions. I was taught at a really early age to always be observant of your surroundings, and being a control freak just naturally makes you that way. Nothing really seemed out of the ordinary that night, and the parking lot was actually quite empty, and most likely because it was a weekday. As I entered the store, I just began browsing like usual, following the natural flow of the store departments
Alrighty.
and following the main
Sounds
aisle
pretty
around.
normal so far.
I had only been browsing for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes when I noticed a young gentleman, mid-20s I think.
No. Look at this dude. No. He looks cracked out. All he's wearing is a jumper and joggers.
He was tall and skinny and dressed in a dirty gray 2-piece sweatsuit and dark brown boots.
And this dude's got the in my solitude. Nah, man's got Link boots. Man's a... who knows? Maybe he works with
He
horses.
looked
and
over at
needs
me,
the boots.
which I smiled and said hello, but his facial expression was completely blank. He looked like he may have been high on something by the look in his eyes, but
He's a
he didn't
cocaine
really seem to
addict.
care for my gesture, and he just quickly moved on. At first glance, there was really nothing in particular that alarmed me about him, except that I took notice at the fact that he was just wandering down the main aisle with no cart or basket. His hands were in his pockets, and he didn't seem to be with anyone.
Okay.
I just continued shopping with no second
He's weird.
thoughts and made my way to the...
So you do research on sex trafficking and shit like that and human trafficking, and you say you carry these precautions, and you don't think... You see a dude that's cracked out, wearing the weirdest fucking fit, and with his hands in his pockets, and you don't think a shit of it?
the
You're
next
a numpty.
apartment. Several minutes had passed at that point, and that's when I noticed a second young gentleman wearing the same exact gray sweatsuit.
This dude looks even more cracked out. Maybe they're buddies. Okay. Maybe they're drug dealers that also deal in horse trafficking. For the boots. The reason for the boots. So, Buddy A over there does the cocaine. This dude does heroin. This dude right here does heroin.
A similar pair of work boots.
See, but these boots are different. They're red. The others were brown. So maybe it's an indication. Maybe their deals work differently. Like, if one of them selling cocaine, be like, hey man, you gotta go and talk to a dude with the brown boots. This dude's got the red boots. See what I mean?
And again, no cart, no basket. He as well glanced right at me, then quickly darted his eyes right away when he realized I was looking directly at him.
But that's anybody.
I started to become a bit more alerted at this point, but still remained composed and continued on browsing. Another 15 minutes or so had passed, and that's when a third older man
So you're
had
at
caught my
8:45.
attention. And you guessed it, same gray sweatsuit.
There's a third. This dude definitely looks like he just deals, like, basic marijuana. What
Dude
color
in
are
work
the boots?
with no card, no basket, and his hands right in his pockets.
Dang, you
I
don't get a
assumed that
look
they
at the
were in
boots?
some sort of work uniform,
I wanted to see
maybe
boots.
construction workers. But
Nah,
why
they
weren't they
ain't
walking
construction
around
workers, my
together?
guy.
And why didn't they have any items?
We gotta look at the boots! Okay, so he's got the reddish brown boots.
At
He
this
got the
point,
burgundy
it was
boots.
really difficult to focus on browsing. I just had a really bad feeling about these three men, and it became clear to me that something was definitely a bit off. Over the next 20 minutes or so, I felt as if I was being monitored by the three of the men.
Okay, this guy genuinely looks innocent. I'm not gonna lie to you. This guy genuinely looks innocent. This one may have gotten roped into it, but this dude right here is definitely the motherfucking mastermind of it all. This dude's the mastermind. This kid's the sidekick. Then this older dude just got roped into it because he needed the extra cash.
As if they were all communicating my whereabouts as I continued to make my way through the store. Because each department I entered, it didn't take long for me to notice one of the three men pass by whatever side of aisle I happened to be in, then making their presence known to me. I stayed completely vigilant while trying not to panic or allow my suspicions to overwhelm me. Something about their presence felt very heavy and dark, so I decided to test their intentions, just to prove to myself that I wasn't overthinking the situation and that the bad gut feeling was definitely valid. I began picking random aisles and traveling back and forth between the departments in a very unorganized and random fashion, just to see if the men would continue to pass by me as frequently as they had been before. With every aisle I popped into, it was just a few minutes later that one of them would make an appearance, staring me down as they passed by.
Bro, what is this dude doing? What is you doing?
It honestly felt like I was being surrounded like a wild animal, hunted even. The scariest part of all of this is they were no longer trying to be conspicuous. Everything instinctual was just screaming at me to get the hell out of there. I started to grip my cart so tightly, and I figured if they got too close, I could just use the cart to try and push them away.
What happened to
or at the very least,
what happened to the items you carry on your person? Get the pepper spray for this motherfucker. Nah, get the pepper spray for the middle kid. Not this dude, the other one. Not the black guy, the white kid. Get the pepper spray for the white kid. This dude you could probably beat him down with like a baton or some shit. And then a taser for the other guy.
Create some distance between us. By this point, I had been shopping for about an hour altogether.
So you're past the time that Target's normally closed. You realize everybody that's working that shift has to wait for you. And everybody else and the three other guys that are in the store. You were past closing time. You're being a dickhead.
Maybe a bit over, and I was ready to purchase my items, but I honestly felt too uncomfortable to continue browsing even if I wanted to. The men had been following me that whole time, and I was starting to become more annoyed if anything. Something that I want to add is the store was pretty empty around this time.
Yes, because it's
one of the main reasons that I really like shopping at night,
the time of
but
closing.
that made this particular situation even more unsettling than it already was. Two preteen girls were wandering around by themselves, which quickly caught my attention because the men had bypassed them as well, making similar
Bro, what is this dude doing?
advances. But of course, the young girls were seemingly oblivious.
Of course they were. They're preteens.
So I quietly and quickly got their attention and asked them to go find their parents and stay with them, trying not to freak them out.
Just tell them
At this
to get out
point,
of
the mother
store.
in me was in full-on protection mode.
Why?
I couldn't imagine having my young children with me this night. Thank God that they were home safe and sound. As I made my way to the checkout,
What?
I noticed one of the men coming up from behind me,
Get the mace
walking
out.
at a quicker pace this time.
Get the pepper spray. Just right in his eyes. Right in between.
So I immediately stopped and turned to lock eyes with him as he approached. I'm not kidding. I will never forget the darkness that I saw in his eyes.
Bro, this dude just looks sensitive to pepper spray.
An eerie smirk formed on his face as he nudged my shoulder, just continuing to stare me down while walking backwards, all while holding on to his sinister gaze as he exited out of the store.
Get the pepper spray.
I had lost sight of the other two men, and I hated the uncertainty of it all.
They have the
He
plan.
made his message
They
clear to me
planned
in
it out.
that very moment.
They planned
My
it
stomach
out.
dropped and my entire body began to shake.
Yeah.
It was a
they
feeling that I
did.
hadn't felt since I was a little kid getting lost in the supermarket. A feeling of desperation. I quickly walked to the checkout and discreetly asked the cashier if I could speak to a manager, and told them what had transpired.
A manager? A manager. They took you into their office. How in the hell? See, at my Target, if somebody asked for a manager, a team lead would come over. Our store director, there's a store manager, then there's a store director, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. The store manager wouldn't leave their office. They're usually too busy. HR is too busy. Everybody that's up in the TMSC, I think they called it, usually doesn't leave there. They usually have team leads handle the situation. So the fact that you got a manager, and you're in TMSC, sitting with them at their desk, props to you. Even I couldn't do that, and I work there.
Over the last hour, and politely asking for a male employee to walk me to my car and for them to alert a member of their security.
They don't need to
When
do
I had
that.
finally told the manager everything that happened, her face had sunk as if she had already known about these men. And
And she
once I
didn't do
described
anything?
them, she then confirmed that she knew exactly who I was talking about. She expressed to me that
I mean,
several
that's
of the
Target
female
for you. They don't
employees
do
had
shit.
found the men unsettling in the past. Then she reassured me that someone would definitely escort me to my car. She made a
Wonderful.
report about the incident and said she would alert the authorities. I was still shaking, but felt pretty
See, she said she would. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen. No, because Target never does shit.
relieved that she believed me, and also showing concern for the other young female patrons in the store. She took my information, then a young male employee walked me out to my car. What
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw as I exited the store.
Hold
the male
on,
employee-
hold on. Look at this dude's arms. Oh, what is he gonna do? Sir, what are you gonna do? Look at your torso. Everything is all wrinkled. You got your top button pinned up. Like you're nerdy. You're nerdy as fuck. You're worse than me. And where's your walkie? Where's your zebra? And where's your box cutter?
walked me out to my car. What I saw as I exited the store made me so sick
Oh
to my
my
stomach,
gosh. What?
solidifying all
Sex
of my
traffickers out
suspicions. A white windowless van was parked in the lot directly behind my car.
Oh my god!
One of the men was seated in the driver's seat, and the other two were leaning against the side of the van facing my car, then attempting to hide out of view. I mean, how
It's the
cliche
drug
and
man.
obvious can you be? Your license plate might as well read lady snatchers at that point.
What?
Whatever their intent, it didn't seem pure. I had pointed them out to the male employee and then said, "There they are, that's them."
Oh, they
Which
run
then
away
prompted
so
all of the
fast?
men to scurry into the van and speed out of the parking lot without any hesitation. I truly have no idea what would have happened to me if I walked out to my car alone, and I'm so freaking grateful that I made it home safe and sound and lived to tell my story. Over that following week, I had heard that there were several
Wild.
abduction attempts in the shopping center parallel to that Target, and I'm almost certain that it was the exact same individuals. Human trafficking is very, very real. It's a very serious thing, and it can happen
That
to
dude's the
anyone.
mastermind.
It's very
Like, look at this dude. He is a straight mastermind. This guy just enjoys it. This guy got roped into it because look how old he is. He couldn't do anything.
very real. It's a very serious thing, and it can happen to anyone. You really have to watch your surroundings.
My nana used to say,
There we go, DMCA.
I'm assured